Hello everyone. You wanna know what really sucks? YouTube. I'm pissed the fuck off, actually. I am super pissed off at YouTube right now. Here's how my day went yesterday. I have a full-time job, so I worked for 8 hours. I had a lot to do, barely even had time to take a lunch break. After that, I was busy in the afternoon, and I had to cut my plans short so I could come home and stream, which I did for over 4 hours. Do you know how much money I made off of that on YouTube? No matter the currency, doesn't matter, zero. I made no money off of that shit. Because YouTube turned off my monetization. They didn't demonetize the video, they turned off the monetization, as if I had done it. There's a little setting you can choose whether you want to monetize a video or not. It was off. I didn't turn it off. There's a way to set it by default to on. It is set by default to on, and YouTube has been ignoring it. The same thing happened today, but obviously today I knew what to look for. And again, I am streaming on YouTube for the time being, but I'm tired of this fuck-ass platform. Why did I waste 4 hours of my day to get nothing in return? Nobody fucking knows. Nobody fucking knows. Again, my video wasn't even demonetized. No. It's not like, oh, I played copyrighted music or I broke community guidelines, so they turned off monetization. That's not what happened. No. I did everything right. I played by the rules. And my video got not demonetized, had monetization turned off because YouTube is just ignoring that I want it on by default. That's just a thing that you can do nowadays. Software doesn't need to work really. Who cares if it breaks a little bit? So you didn't make money off of 4 hours worth of content. Big deal. Big fucking deal. Who cares? Now, if anyone was watching on YouTube yesterday and saw a single ad on my stream, please let me know. Because that changes the situation entirely. Because they're making money off of me, but I'm not making any money. Isn't that just fucking amazing? Isn't it just so great how software just doesn't work anymore? Coincidentally, at the same time that they've been pushing this technology that they're kind of low-key forcing their employees to use, and firing people. So what you have left is overworked employees whose best, choice in order to do their job and hoping that they don't, that they can keep up with the workload from themselves plus the employees that get fired, because all these companies are constantly doing layoffs. The only way to really put up with that is to, work at the slot machine. Sorry, the slot machine. Just like pull a lever and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Who knows? Who cares? So you didn't make money off of a stream. Whatever. Keep streaming. Eventually you'll make money off of it. We'll fix the issue. No problem. Today's stream was the same. When I started the stream, I checked the default settings, monetization is on. I turn on the stream, monetization is off. Care to explain what the fuck is wrong with your platform? It doesn't work anymore. Your platform doesn't work anymore. You have a monopoly over video on the internet and your platform doesn't work. Can we do something about that? What incentive do I have to continue working on YouTube? Genuinely, what's the point of me streaming to YouTube? Streaming on 2 different platforms at the same time, if one of them just decides not to work one day. 2 days in a row, actually. Decides, you're not making money today. Nah, we're good. So anyway, if you're on YouTube, there is a link to my Twitch. By the way, Twitch has a very small amount of common sense. and tells me when there's ads running, so I can take a break during the ads, or at the very least wait for the ads to be over. If I'm doing something particularly interesting, I will wait for the ads to be over so that everyone can watch. So if you're on YouTube, there's a link to Twitch. Please watch on Twitch. At least I'm guaranteed to make money off of the damn thing. Which, by the way, both platforms forced me to turn on monetization. But now one of them is like, oh, you turned on monetization? Did you think you were gonna make money off of it? You silly. Nah. So that's wonderful. That's fucking wonderful. Frankly, the only reason I'm streaming to YouTube is because most people are, like, in terms of number, most people are there. Actually, most people watch on Twitch because it's just like miles better than YouTube. And also because otherwise my YouTube video, which is my YouTube channel, would just be abandoned because they've already killed my interest in making videos. Now they're killing my interest in streaming to their platform. And, you know, just like they're doing it to me, they're doing it to a lot of other content creators. But, like, in case you were wondering why YouTube is so shit nowadays, it's because it is genuinely a frustrating experience to be a content creator on YouTube. By the way, there's YouTube Studio, which sometimes just doesn't work. Sometimes it's just like, hey, listen, I'm gonna be off this weekend. Gotta go with the family to the beach. Yeah, taking the kids to the beach this weekend. So I won't be here. Okay? You don't need to access your YouTube analytics, your comments. You don't need that stuff, right? You don't need to manually turn on monetization for the videos that we accidentally turned off, right? You don't need to do that. So I'm just gonna be off during the weekend. Don't worry about it. Yeah. YouTube Studio just stops working every few days for a little bit, few hours. It actually has worse uptime than GitHub, in my opinion. In my personal anecdotal experience, it has worse uptime than GitHub. Isn't that just amazing? So yeah, that's great. Don't you just love how it used to be difficult to find bugs in well-known software created by large companies? Nowadays, it's difficult not to. I mentioned how this whole past week I've been leaving people on red on WhatsApp because my messages have just not. They've been sent into the void. They're nowhere to be found. I have zero proof that I responded to a bunch of... Not that anyone's asking for proof, but like I responded to messages and my response is nowhere to be found. They never received it. It doesn't show up in my phone. It's just not there because I responded through notifications. Gone. I didn't realize until, you know, I opened the chat because I was like, shouldn't you have responded by now? Oh, I'm the one who hasn't responded. Oh, because my message just got deleted. Oh. But yeah, keep vibe coding, for the love of God. Keep vibe coding. Isn't it just fucking amazing? Isn't it just amazing? Isn't the tech industry nowadays just such a fucking piece of sunshine? Don't you love it? Don't you love interacting with this shit? Nothing works. And if you complain about it, you probably get banned, or at the very least, they spit in your face. They'll do that. Well, just amazing. So thank you, YouTube, for the lost revenue from yesterday, for trying to also turn off my monetization today. I'm sure tomorrow is gonna be great. Just saw your YouTube live. Thank you for switching over. I think we know the reason for these downtimes and bugs. Yes. The slot machine doesn't always pay off. Sometimes it breaks. The tech industry is genuinely so amazing. I'm so glad to be a part of it. So glad that I chose this time to make content for it. Vibe coding goes brrr. Yeah. Yeah, dog's chilling on the pillow today. Had an ear turned inside out. I can't let him be like that on live television. We're making money off of this shit, Jester. They're really trying not to let us, but we're really trying to make money off of this shit. Yeah, my hair's really long. I need to trim it a little bit, but yeah. I'm enjoying my long hair. Despite it being summer, it's actually fine. Usually, I always wanted to have long hair, but summer would come around and I couldn't stand it. I ended up cutting it. Last year was the first time I didn't do it, so finally I have long hair. Alright. YouTube, genuinely fuck off. I swear to God. By the way, to this day, you still don't know. I still don't know when they're running ads on YouTube. Can you see what I'm saying right now? I have no idea. I have no clue. I have no clue. On Twitch, it tells me exactly when the next ad is gonna be. I can snooze it if I need to. I can run it manually if I need to. I can take a break if I want to, which most Twitch streamers that are just like talking or, you know, playing games can't really pause for 3 minutes every hour. Sometimes you can. Well, most don't do it anyway, even if you can. But it's nice to do it if you have the option to do it. Sometimes I don't do it, but for the most part I try to do it. I don't have that option on YouTube. I don't know when ads are running on my stream. Hold on, there's another really beautiful thing. By the way, if you misspell something on YouTube chat, it will auto-translate it for me because it thinks it's a different language. So not to this, the latest chat message on YouTube, but you wrote this instead of this, and YouTube is like, oh, what language is that? Swedish? Genuinely, like, stupid ass platform. I don't know what to call it. There's a reason that using AI in coding is hard, because coding isn't about typing. Like, never once when you're writing code is the problem. This is my game. Why do I have this open? Never once when you're writing code is the issue how fast you type. And large language models are capable of writing code, syntax, right? It's generating code. That's never been the issue. And the few times that we do need to generate code, we've written code generators. The logic is the thing that coding is about. LLMs are not good at that, despite them literally trying to gaslight us into thinking that. Yeah. And, oh yeah. Unfortunate news for everybody. Fable 5 has been suspended. Mythos, suspended. Because the US government didn't want foreign nationals to have access to it. It's like really funny news, but it's because of really fascist things. You know? How am I supposed to feel about it? It's like, oh, they suspended access to Claude Mythos. Oh, that's really funny. It's because the US government is like really, really xenophobic. Oh. Okay. So. Awkward laughter it is. I don't know what else to do about it. Anyway. Let's get to the coding part. Alright, so yesterday I was working on my terminal. And this morning I had some free time. And a few streams ago, like last week I think, I started writing a little bit of documentation for my system, and also somebody yesterday was asking about, what is it called? A little overview of how the system works, and I told them like, okay, it would take a long time to explain everything, but I did write this overview document that you can find in the repository of the operating system itself. Because I did start working on, by the way, let me, for the love of God, did I type it here? No. Let me link it while we're at it. Anyway, uh, local LLM suggestions in IDE is probably the best thing you can do for AI. Even then, it's not great. Because a lot of the times it just like kind of forces itself into your code, which sometimes gets in your way, like physically gets in the way of what you're typing. The suggestion physically gets in the way of what you're typing. This happens as well with normal autocomplete, but it's just much more invasive when it comes to autocomplete with an LLM because it genuinely thinks that it knows better. Whereas like an LSP thinks that it probably knows better, but the AI is like, leave it to me, and then fucks it up. Incredible. But yeah, code completion is probably the best way you can go when it comes to coding. Still leaves the logic to the one capable of doing logical thinking, and leaves the typing to the one capable of doing language. Well, we're supposed to both be capable of doing language, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I wrote this little overview thing. It's a little overview of 200 lines. And I started working on man pages, essentially, for the system. And this is what they looked like, really. Because I modified this one, but not this one so much. So, where we can start kind of reading how the system works. I'm trying to make it as little extensive and verbose as possible. I'm just trying to make it as concise as possible. That's the word I was looking for. But in the process, I was thinking like, okay, if you type manual terminal overview, it gives you this stuff. If you type manual terminal developer or dev, it gives you this stuff. So it gives you information for developers. Like, okay, I want to work with your terminal. Okay, only up to here. I want to work with your terminal. I just don't know how it works. All right, let me type manual terminal developer or dev, and it will give me some very basic overview. And then if I write this to be extensive enough, it can give you more information when you need it. But I wanted to make it even more automatic than that. So this is the new format that I was working with. This here, where you have, here's just the introduction to the UI of the system, right? And I found out that you can do this syntax, just a link syntax in Markdown, but you put a exclamation point in front of it. And by the way, the other time that I wrote this, I was like, how do I visualize Markdown on Linux? Is there no way? Somebody said that VS Code has it. Turns out Zed has it as well. I just didn't know about it. Anyway, you can see there's no links anywhere, even though here it's riddled with links. So my plan is to essentially have like little bullet points like these, tag them as overview, and when you do manual UI overview, it gives you this, skips over the non-formatted text or non-annotated text, gives you all of this, doesn't give you this part. So it gives you a more concise, it auto summarizes the document for you. That's how I was planning on doing this. And yeah, so I set out to like do this as a test in this section of the UI document. And then I was going to update the manual program here so that it could look for these things and do that summarization. And then I went to run it, and I remembered I kind of, rewrote the terminal, and it doesn't work right now. So I couldn't test it. So I just left it as a to-do. Little thing that I forgot about, I kind of broke my entire terminal. I didn't commit any of it, so I could have just gone back to the old version, but yeah, couldn't be bothered at the same time. What's DSA? Oh, but yeah, if that's the thing, is that anyone who doesn't know how to do something thinks that LLMs are really good at it. But then when you do know how to do it, you realize how shit it is at that. The LLMs are always good at everything except for the thing that you're good at. And some people, by the way, have realized this, but not realized that, oh wait, it's actually not good at anything. I'm just not good at anything either. Some people genuinely have not come to this realization. And again, in a lot of cases, it's because they benefit from AI, like monetarily. In a lot of cases, because some people are just dumb. What can I say? So anyway, let's see if we can get the terminal to work today. There's a few things missing. Data structures and algorithms. Thank you. The thing is, DSA, to me, is diamond square algorithm, which is like a terrain generation algorithm. Why? No real reason. I just like it. Generates some, you know, slightly better looking terrain than like Perlin noise or even like Brownian noise or Brownian noise generates. So I quite like it. Makes for some very interesting and varied looking terrain. So whenever you say DSA, I think of that. This DSA will not teach you stuff like distributed scaling, performance, or even actual low-level stuff. No. Compiler optimizations, yeah, same. To be fair, a lot of those things you don't need to think about. No, you need to know, where to use a linked list, where to use a normal array, where to think more about memory, because this is like it needs to be performant. For the most part, you don't need to manually optimize your code. Compilers are pretty good at that. You don't need to make your code unreadable. So a lot of low-level stuff is not taught because it's kind of not needed nowadays. The programming language and the compiler tend to take care of it for you. But in the libraries and whatnot, but it's still nice to know, but it's not essential. I think it makes you a good programmer if you know how to use these things. But you can still program without it. What I don't think you can program without is a basic level of knowledge on how to code. Like, you want to use an LLM, fine, but like, learn how to code. Alright. He's asleep. Doesn't know what an LLM is. Still smarter than one, too. Alright. So yeah, the terminal doesn't work very well. I cannot type into it because it has no input. But I did very much simplify the way that it works by a lot, because I'm treating the terminal as just a printer, which is what it used to be. I talked yesterday about how it comes from teletypes. And yeah, just sequentially printing text, occasionally being able to move the cursor around. So that I made tea, but it's kind of really hot. I'm waiting for that to go down. It's gonna take me about like a year for it to cool, but yeah. Alright, so I tried scrolling in the terminal and it refused to scroll. No matter what I did, it refused to move the text. So maybe I'll have to look into that. Maybe I'll try to look into that like off stream, because like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. But yeah, it kind of doesn't scroll right now, but also there's no input to it. Kind of need input. There's no input. There's all of this stuff that isn't implemented, like controlling the console. Obviously, I'm rewriting the whole thing, so I need to port all the functionality that it used to have into this. Okay, So I'm gonna start with input, because that way, no matter what else I do besides input, I'll be able to like actually work on the manual thing off stream if I have time. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna work on right now. All right, so the terminal right now, all it does is set itself up, read /theme to know the color that it's supposed to be, and clear the screen, create a shell which actually handles running programs and all that, and then just refresh the view whenever it's needed, which isn't always. For that matter, this shouldn't even be here technically. Can very much just be here. Pretty sure. Make it super performant, who cares? By the way, I saw a question before. Making a terminal with raylib. You could do it. There's not much of a point to it. Again, I've just explained how a terminal is a really, really simple interface. So in that sense, you don't really need it. Because raylib is for like more advanced graphics, really. But at the same time, it's so difficult to get a window on a screen sometimes. Like, it's so not straightforward. It's not difficult. It's just not straightforward to do. So I would kind of understand. And also, if you want to make something less like a traditional terminal, but that you know, you want to make your own thing just for fun, yeah, go for it. Give it a try. You won't know for sure if it's a good idea to make a terminal in raylib unless you try. So give it a try. Frankly, we could all use with a little bit more fucking around with computers and seeing what happens. A little bit less with the fucking around with the slot machine and seeing what happens. It's never good. Whole computer science boils down to data structures and algorithms, but these companies ask for puzzle problems are pretty much useless. Well, in order to work at these companies, you need to solve their riddles 3, so makes sense. All right. So how did terminal work? Handle input. Here it is. It was literally right in front of me too. All right, so we have all of this logic. Can I do anything better with this logic? This logic is kind of ugly. Every time you press a key, it redraws the input line in the old one. So that's not great. Well, only in this case, Okay, so not all keys. Only when you type in a new letter, okay. But redrawing the whole input line, I don't think we're going to need to do that anymore. I just kind of want to see what are you doing. So you're reading the key, and then if the key gets released, you ignore it because you act on press. There's also modifiers. So this part we're going to need. Okay, so there's you can do a press release. You can do a press release. You can do a key press, you can do a key release, or you can do a modifier press or release. So this essentially happens if there's a modifier, we handle the modifier, which we have a... did I already import it? No. We have a keyboard helper header that has this handle modifier thing. And that way, if we press something like Shift A, it will already tell us, by the way, the current modifier is Shift. So you press the A key with the Shift modifier, so give us the uppercase version of that. So yeah, it automatically handles that stuff. This stuff can come with me. It's pretty much going to stay the same. We're going to put it here. It returns, okay, I'm gonna make it return a boolean because it used to return a boolean, and I do think it's gonna be useful at some point, but I'm not entirely sure. Yep. Because if no key is pressed, then it's doing a cursor tick. It's just kind of doing that manually. for making the cursor blink. We don't have that yet, but it will be there eventually. So we're gonna keep the boolean. Then this is handling the modifier and the key and whatnot. So readable is the key. If the command is running, if there is a command running, that is, sorry. If there is a command running, then it does this ASCII codes. Otherwise, if you press enter or keypad enter, it runs the command. If you go left, it moves the cursor. If you go right, it moves the cursor. If you go up, it goes up in the history. If it goes down in the history. Backspace deletes. Delete deletes. And then inserts into the thing. Okay, so because I don't have most of this behavior, I am going to not just copy code over. This part is okay, but the rest I'm not going to copy over. I am going to copy over this part. No. I am going to copy over this part. The actually interpreting which key is being pressed. Then okay, we're just gonna do basic behavior, right? Writing and enter. That is if readable equals to key, and no, not the readable key, because that's the modified key. No, just key. Key enter or key is key kp enter, just keypad. Then we run command, which is going to be a new function we're going to introduce. So we're also going to make it a boolean. Pretty sure this does need to be a boolean. Okay, good. And anything other than that, any other key besides that, will need to be printed onto the terminal. And then we'll need to do like deleting that and whatnot, but we're not going to handle that for the time being. Instead, we need to have an input buffer. So separate from the content buffer being shown here is the input buffer. Which will be created the first time it's used, if I learn how to type. It's going to be given a default size of 100, but we're going to allow it to grow. 100 being 256 characters. Hopefully you're not typing super big commands, and if you are, well, we'll just resize the buffer so that we can fit it. Okay, and then we're simply going to insert that into the input buffer. So that is buffer write limit. And again, this is a little bit cursed. Wrote something very similar yesterday. But essentially, we're going to take the character, we're going to take its address. That's a char pointer, also known as a string of size 1. Not null terminated, but we don't care because we're explicitly passing the size. And we're going to write it into the buffer. Another thing is, if the key is not readable, we are just going to return false. Now here, we will need to put backspace and delete. We will need to put up and down arrows, which is going to go through history, and we'll need to put left and right, which is going to move through the through the input string. It's going to move the cursor of the input string. I was thinking how do I feel? Not sure how I feel about it, to be honest, but about having the input always on the bottom. That kind of does break the whole. Kind of does break the whole printer. It all just a printer, but at the same time you have the input and then you have the output. Not sure how I feel about it. Not really sure how to feel about it. So for the time being, we're just not gonna do that. We're just not gonna do that. Java is nice until I decided to learn Spring Boot. Well, that sounds. Well, I disagree with Java being nice, but that does not sound pleasant for sure. Okay, for the time being, I would have to set everything up for it, so we are just going to. What was this supposed to be? Okay, current shell. And the character is going to be the readable character. So we're just going to put it onto the same print because I haven't decided if I want this or not. And this goes like that, and then we return true because we did handle the character, that is. And on line 117, run command. Yeah, you don't have the ability to run commands yet, so... Are there any terminals that do that, by the way? Does anyone know any terminals that explicitly move your input away from the output? Because again, I'm thinking the terminal has been around for so long. There's so many ways of using it. Does make you wonder, should we disable this? Should we? Maybe I could do like both. That by default, but then it can switch. I don't know. Doesn't work anyway, so who cares? I think it maybe does work, but we need to flush. I don't know what I want the terminal to do. As in, that's the thing. Off the top of my head, I can think separating the input from the output can work, but is that too different from how most terminals work? I don't know. Still doesn't work. Ain't that just fucking peachy? Hello, not simply unreal. That was hard to read. New char. Oh, I literally have the same print here, by the way. And it's empty. It's empty. Okay, so that explains it. It says new char. No, wait. Hold on. No. This print is never happening. Which means we don't get to this. Which means a readable is failing? Or we're never calling this whole thing, are we? As a developer, what do you think of Fedora? I've only used it a little bit. The next time Ubuntu breaks, I am switching to Fedora. It hasn't happened yet, so we're good. It's fine. Although I do have to say, most of the times there's software that is available in a lot of distros, or software that is only easily available. Like you go to their website and they tell you this is how you install it on Debian and Ubuntu. So that's very convenient. I don't want to have to figure that out. Maybe I switch to Debian instead of Fedora if or when Ubuntu breaks again. Okay, you are typing new characters, but I'm not seeing them. You're lying to me. Switch to Arch. No, thank you. Now, could this maybe have been avoided if you didn't need root to install packages all the times? I don't know. Frankly, IDK. I have always found that to be very insecure. Unsafe, not insecure. That's the same word in Spanish, but not in English. It's not shy. It's unsafe. It's not coffee, it's tea. Very nice tea, too. How do you move the Z file manager to the left? Can it go on the right? Oh, my phone is on the way. How do you move it to the right? I closed it. How do you move it to the right? I don't think that's the thing that you can do. Unless it's here. Nah, we're good. It's always on the right for you? Have you tried just flipping your monitor? I don't know. Hello, Best Creeper. Pretty sure what you send there is an animated emote that I cannot see. Yes, it is. This is how OBS renders it, by the way. It just renders it like this. I don't have Twitch open, but by the way, if you're on YouTube, there's a link to Twitch. They didn't turn off my monetization randomly, so feel free to watch over there. Fucking YouTube, I swear to God. But yeah, link is in the chat, pinned. And great job, YouTube. Yeah, great job. Anyway, put char should be working now. By the way, what does flush? That's interesting. It says new char. The character is there. Is it not being transmitted because of one of these things breaking? Oh, yeah, yep. I used current shell. I should be using main shell. Although, they should be the same now. That setup is fully done. It's a little weird. Okay, so that's not quite working like I expected it to. Ah, fuck. Which is weird because yesterday was working just fine. But anywho, at least we get text on the screen. Why is that happening? Alright, tell me where this character is being written. I don't know what's going wrong here. Because I just found the bug. There's kind of two things happening. First off, it's re-rendering everything every time I type a character on a new line every time. Second, the new input is going to the left of the old input for some reason, even though the cursor is actually moving, so I should be putting it at the end. All right. This could be a bug on the buffer, but I've already used this thing multiple places, so I don't think it's a bug in the buffer. So I'm gonna leave that possibility for last. Although we are writing, it might just be a re-render issue. Hmm. There's one thing I didn't consider. When you flush, re-render range gets set to 0.
Likei have zero idea what's happening.
Same, actually. So you're not alone. Hello, goldfish. Clang, I haven't had a good day. Okay? I need you to work. This is not up for debate. You need to work today. I am not in the best mood. I'm not in a bad mood. I was when I found out about the whole fucking YouTube shit. But I'm better now. Let's not make it worse. I need you to work. I need to click on this thing and see where it is defined. It doesn't feel like it. Alright, the class name is range. The type name. That's better. Yeah. It's not re-rendering the correct text. But it is... Okay, so it probably is an issue in the re-render range. That's probably the one that's struggling. Because when I do put char, I am never setting... Ah. Okay. I see where the issue is. Why can't modern OSs boot up that fast? They have a lot of stuff to do, to be fair. I'll give them a little bit of leniency. Some do boot that fast, actually. There was like a brief period of about a year or so where Windows had a fast boot that was actually super fast. Now it's slower than that was when you wake it from sleep. That's great. Okay, here's the bug, I'm telling it to re-render whatever is in this range. I am never explicitly telling it where that range starts. So I think what I just wrote about the flush function, here it is, I can just make you start at the current cursor, contents.cursor. That should cover most of the cases. macOS boots up very fast, but it might be cheating. If it boots, it boots. That's not cheating. My system boots very fast because there's barely anything happening. Very, very minimalistic. For that matter, at this moment, Window Manager, desktop environment have not loaded. A lot of processes haven't loaded. We're literally on process number 4 booted right now. Number 1 is the kernel itself. Just, I give it process 1, even though it doesn't run as a process, it has memory assigned to it, so that memory gets given to process 1. Process 2 is audio, just because audio is creating its own mixer, and it has that. Process 3 is the boot state machine that just goes between this to the desktop environment to a logging system to, does that logic. And the process 4 is this thing itself. And we boot. We got process 5, which is the desktop environment. We got a launcher running right now, and then we can run a process inside of that. And I can type in the terminal again. Okay. It can work on real hardware. It's very limited right now. Need to. Somebody already volunteered to take care of that, so I haven't been prioritizing it too much. Though I still might manually take care of the Raspberry Pi 3. Yeah, but supposed to run on Raspberry Pi 3, 4, and 5. Is it open source? Yes. Do this. Command get. Do we call this command, chat? You're the Twitch experts, not me. Do we call this command get? Well, what is the nomenclature for this type of thing? I don't know what it's called. The process scheduler? Yes. Yes, there is. But yeah, the real reason that this boots really, really fast, barely doing anything. And other OSs can be... How can that be comfortable? I slept slightly weird yesterday and my neck still hurts. Yeah, he's comfortable sleeping like that. Essentially with his head off the pillow, although it's a very small pillow. Where was I? Okay, so I can type into the terminal correctly now. And we're going to disable this because it's spamming here, and we're also going to disable this because it's spamming, but in case I need them again, I'm just going to keep them there. I haven't committed all this code anyway, so who cares? It's a big project, but like I've been working on it for a year, pretty much, not exclusively, but every other project that I've been working on besides my job itself is all connected to this one. It's all operating system, always was. Anywho, we should be able to try running the command. All right, let's give that a try. Do I realize? Okay. Okay, I see the issue. I've been typing and doing enter, and it would still print a new line, which it's not supposed to do, but that's because I'm not doing anything here. It's supposed to be like that, so we shouldn't be able to... Yeah. We shouldn't be able to get a new line unless run command gives us a new line, which it doesn't. Okay, so we've been saving everything that gets typed into the input buffer, currently separate from the main buffer, but we're also writing it to the main buffer so we can get output. And now, there's also a little bit of extra logic when it comes to that from the original terminal. Again, I am trying to streamline the code. So, for example, this code here is now this. These three very simple readable lines of code. So I'm not trying to just copy and paste code, I'm trying to rewrite it. Even though I am looking at this one, of course. Run command, here it is. Do you like my bell? This is what plays if you, this is what happens if you try to do a bell in the terminal. Which, by the way, can I just do this? I don't think I can. No, that doesn't work like that. But if you send this as output, it will play a little ding sound, which is this one. How do I... That one. That sound. I've been programming in C for, like, all the time. Since I started this project, pretty much. I knew it, but actually using it, yeah, for a year, pretty much. Okay, there is an ad starting, so I wanted to look at this thing. And see how it's doing all this We don't need all that. We don't need all that. Really, what we want is this. This line of code. And it also has built-in exit and queue, which I might have actually already moved to the shell. I'm not sure. Alright, but there is an ad coming up, and I did say I take breaks during ads, so it would be stupid of me not to do that. So I'm just gonna finish writing this, slice from buffer, input buffer, and return true. And we're gonna test it when I'm back. I'll be back in 3 minutes. Okay, and we are back. Alright, so quick reminder for YouTube. There is a pinned comment with a link to Twitch. I would much prefer it if you watch this on Twitch. I take breaks when there's ads on Twitch. So you kind of get ad-free experience, and you are encouraged to, I don't know, stretch your legs during those 3 minutes. But also YouTube, great platform that it is, has suddenly decided to ignore my settings, turn off my monetization. I have to manually turn it on, but yesterday I didn't realize this, so I made zero money off of that whole stream. I spent 4 hours of my very busy day to do that, and got nothing in return. So fuck you for that. And if you're on YouTube, feel free to click the link, watch on Twitch. I'm not moving away from the platform, but I am strongly encouraging to watch on Twitch. Okay. So, left it on a cliffhanger. Sorry about that. But one thing I said is I take breaks during the ads on Twitch, so I had to take a break during the ad on Twitch. I also went to get water. That's good. But we should have the ability to run commands, not with the current shell, but the main shell. Maybe, I guess we'll see if that works. Vecron, welcome. Glad you're coding with me. All right, we're gonna. It doesn't erase, so that's a problem. And another thing is it doesn't. All right, let me do a little bit more because I made a typo there, and that just completely breaks everything forever and ever. How do I handle this? Man, the fur would be nice here. Shall we just give a little manual defer as a treat? Can we have a little manual defer as a treat? Because I need to wipe the buffer before I'm done with it. Then return true. Alright, so we're going to have a little manual deferring as a treat. Even though I was trying not to use go... I don't have any go-tos in the entire OS. Although, I do want to have defer. But that's why I have an entire programming language that compiles to C. It's a different type of thing. Although it's not a big deal. But like, I am proud of that, you know, 0 go-tos in the entire OS. Means nothing. It's absolutely meaningless. That kind of worked. Because I see it here. See, it prints when I press enter, so yeah, it's working, but it's not. I think. Wait, did that work and I just wasn't paying attention? I don't think it did. But just in case. Echo hello. Does not print anything on the screen, but it does print down here. So, Esquilishu. But we are going to put char to the main shell. Nope. R, N, and that. Buffer does have some guardrails. I'm not on a new line. Ah, yeah, hold on. Wait. Yeah, okay. That should be fine. Now it's just cho hello. What happened? Nah, I messed it up. Besides the fact that I'm not flushing. Gross, I know. The IDE is Z. It's still happening. The E-tax, yeah, exactly. Alright, you know, we're saving space. We're saving your CPU cycles, because all of this is rendered by the CPU, so... And you can see here, it's trying to grow and grow and grow all the time. See, defer isn't even the correct thing to do here, for the love of God. Okay, so we can keep my... It's supposed to be this. It's supposed to run this stuff no matter what. But succeed in running the command, only if we're here. Right. So go-to was actually not necessary there at all. I can keep my 0 go-tos streak going. That is good. Okay. So, that's not so bad. Okay. Wait, I wonder if you're the culprit. You're probably the oh my god, that's probably the culprit. Freaking terminal, were you not doing that? Were you not doing that? You were not doing that. Damn, okay. Alright. Also, why am I doing a put char here? Where I have an append. I can just put all of this stuff together. And it will automatically flush, actually. I could have done NR, but not RN. That's weird, but whatever. I manually didn't press the space key there, because I actually don't handle caps lock. I handle shift. Wait, do I handle caps lock? No. I don't handle caps lock. So I have to manually hold down shift. And forgot to press space for some reason. Okay, anyway. Again, thinking of the terminal as just a giant printer makes everything I'm doing a lot easier to do. Yes, has bugs. Scrolling still doesn't work. And this broke. But I actually understand why. It doesn't matter, doesn't matter, doesn't matter. It's a text rendering issue. Hate C++, but I must use it. Yeah. That's why I'm moving away from it. I don't have to use it anymore. Isn't that great? Caps lock to be shift lock, otherwise it wouldn't work. Let's see if we can make it work, actually. Let's take a little detour. Because HID to char should be enough to just do key mod. Is it not a modifier key? Wait, what? What do you see this key as, actually? Spend 7 hours on that? No, it's gonna be a little detour. Although my game engine is called detour because of how many detours I take. 1 and 0, and the key is 39. So it's just a regular key. It's not a modifier. Ah. I see. Well, that kind of actually makes it a little bit harder to do. 1, 0, okay. So this first that did, and then the other one, okay. Okay, so we're not gonna take the detour because we would actually spend 7 hours on figuring this out. Caps lock, you're gonna have to wait. But yeah, it's just gonna be a different thing. You know what? Special key. Nah, because I have to detect when it's a special key. Yeah, Let's go for it. 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 Case key press if event key equals to key lock caps lock, okay, caps lock, which is 39 in hexadecimal, yes. Then you're going to set the special key to it, and the same thing is going to happen on release. You're also going to return true in this case. Same thing is going to happen on release. All right, if I go over 6 hours of working on this thing, please let me know so we can go back to what I was doing. All right, and then in the other thing, the HID to char, if special key is equal to key caps lock, but we don't pass it in the, fuck. It's not passed in here. So I'm essentially modifying the signature of this function. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. So anywhere I'm calling it, I now need to add the special key. Shouldn't be too difficult. All of this is in a helper header, specifically made so I can do this easily. So that should be it. How long was the detour? Hold on. Not done yet. The statement may fall through. Same as my plans with your mom. God damn it. I forgot this. That didn't work. That did not work. And besides that, it also shouldn't handle these. The thing is, and is alnum. Right, so we should only do it for alphanumeric characters if the key is caps lock. But besides that, what is not working? Well, let me see. Special key stays at 0, so that's kind of the problem. Done. Oh, because I released it. Oh, because I released it. I'm releasing it. My god. Okay, so actually when the key gets released, I don't care about that. if there is no special key, I set it. Right, so if the key is caps lock, there's two possibilities. If there's no special key currently set, then I set it to caps lock. If there is a special key and it is caps lock, then I set it to 0. So this should be wrapped in a little bit of this thing. All right. Obviously, caps lock is supposed to be a lock key. Brother. These are not even initialized. Holy shit. I don't think that's the problem. If the key is caps lock, well, yeah, here you return true. Otherwise, you fall through and return false. Or yeah, so if there is no special key, we set it to caps lock. If there is and it is caps lock, we toggle it back out. I feel like that should work. And we're risking this detour actually taking 7 hours. Is setting the special key to 0. Bro. Current special key. I genuinely thought this was going to take like one line of code. Why is this never being called? That's the problem, it's never being called, okay. Brother, come on, the special key is clearly pressed. Current special key 39, which means it resets itself. Yeah, it is. It is working exactly as expected. It's not on now. On now. That was supposed to be an N. And yeah, you're refusing. Is it not alphanumeric? Why is it called alpha instead of whatever? Well, alphabetic, yeah. Never mind. That's why it's called alpha. I had caps lock on. Clever. Okay. It's not an alphanumeric letter. Character C is not alphanumeric. Oh, well, yeah, of course it isn't. Yeah. These are not alphanumeric. These are HID key codes. So I'm not sure if I can do this. Like, if it's between this and this. I mean, yeah, kind of. No, more or equal to this thing. And less or equal to this thing. And it's also not called char, it's called C. This is the function that we use. Alright. Detour took about 50 hours, I think. Good. Good. Alright. I can get rid of that now, and we're good. Okay. Back to the terminal then. we can run commands, but the output from it is not coming through to the terminal. Well, what's happening there? Let's find out. I do echo space hello, and I've written this, and I press enter, and it says hello, but it doesn't print. Okay, so that goes through the console. So it's a console problem because the terminal's not receiving it. Okay, so yeah, by the way, exit and queue are actually handled by the shell, not by the terminal. So simplifies my logic a lot. But either way, run command. This is the function that we're eventually calling. It's clearly running because we see the result of the echo command here. This is like parsing the command, is opening all the processes for it, but that's not part of that. Here it is. Call shell the built-in. Okay, I have a feeling that I'm just not setting the current shell, because that's been happening a lot. Was I doing that manually in the old terminal? Was I setting that current shell manually? Probably. Probably, but not here anyway. Yeah. Yeah. This thing was not there. That's the problem. That's pretty much it. When we create the shell, the default shell, the current shell, the shell for Cusco, we need to do this. That's why so much code was being weird. Yo, what are you spamming now? What is this? Now the shell is spamming something. Anything you want to tell us here, shell? What's happening? I press E and it starts spamming N. What? So far so good. Boom. Goes crazy. Oh, and then it crashes. Yeah. It's because of the print. The print is automatically going through the current console. And every time I put a character, I print, which goes through the console, which calls this function, which makes it infinite recursion. The N was coming from new char. Okay, that worked. Although it did print on the same line because most likely we want to put this at the beginning. There. And we have it. We did it. Great. I spilled tea on me. It's just like one drop, but still. Maybe the comically large cup wasn't the best idea. No, I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. Alright. So of course, the question that I have to ask myself is, will I be able to work on the whole manual thing that I was trying to work on? It's trying. I don't know what happened there, but it tried. Did its best. Its best just wasn't enough, but it's fine. You gave it a try. Pretty sure, again, the issue is with R. So, let's fix that. I'm thinking I can just ignore R safely in my text rendering. It's none of my business. Manual UI. Okay, yeah. That way I can do RN like normal and the text rendering won't freak out about it, which is how it should work. Although I don't really do RN, but when I'm printing to serial, I do want to put RN, so yes. I do want to append RN here because when I'm in headless mode, I'm going to be printing only to this console, which this console handles it fine. It actually just, with just N, it's able to just put a new line properly, but some other consoles may not work as nicely. UART. What is the name of that command that reads UART? Screen, I think. That one won't work as well. So when I'm reading from real hardware, I do need to use RN. And yeah, it's better to have it. And frankly, the text rendering itself does not care about it, so we can get rid of it. Maybe also this, but this one isn't actually affecting anything, so we're good. It's just doing look ahead so it can do word wrap. Okay. Seems to work fine. Everything's working. Everything's good. It's time to consider moving the cursor and deleting. So we're going to start with backspace, because that way if I make typos, I don't waste the entire line. So very minimal implementation of something that works will require backspace. So the way that backspace was being handled in the old terminal was a little bit weird, a little bit ugly. It was doing a lot and then redrawing the entire input line. We don't need to redraw the entire input line. We're smart now. So we're going to introduce a new function, void erase, with a boolean forward. And if key is equal to key backspace, then we erase backwards. And if it's delete, we erase forwards. And we're also going to make it return a boolean, not because it needs to give us any information, but just so we can return directly like I did here. It's just easier. All right, let's actually handle erasing. We'll need to erase from two buffers because we're technically keeping two buffers at the same time. Like I said, do I want to fully separate the input buffer from the output? IDK. Do we want to try? maybe. But I'm not sure if I even want to do that in the first place. So for the time being, I'm okay with maintaining 2 buffers. And then I can just make it a setting. Do you want to separate those 2 things? Yes or no? So I give you more choice. C++ embedded internship starting in less than a month and I only know basic up to loops. Am I cooked? No, you have a month to practice. Start writing code until you are better. And it's an internship, so you're also supposed to learn, but do learn a little bit during that month. So not cooked, but get to work. Okay, so buffer delete returns a size, a perfection. All right, we're gonna do it with the input buffer first. What's the what are we gonna erase? It's just 1. Size is always gonna be 1. Cursor depends on if we're forwards or not. Right? If we're supposed to go forward, we are deleting cursor -1, right? So we're here, we're going forwards. We delete the next one. So no, not -1, actually just cursor. Delete what's currently at the cursor. Otherwise, we're supposed to delete the character before the cursor, which, you know, me showing you that moves the cursor, oh well. So really, it's just cursor minus not forward. Which means if not forward, cursor -1, otherwise 0. And the buffer actually already does bounce checking for us, so it becomes a lot more readable in that sense. And when we erase, now not from the input buffer, but from the contents buffer, we will want, if this works, if this worked, right? If size, we will tell the buffer to if this fails, we're actually going to return false. If we successfully delete from the input buffer, we're also going to try to delete from the content buffer. This is less important because that's just the output. As the input buffer is the one that actually controls what command we execute, the output buffer is just visual. So it's slightly less important. But if we manage to delete from both, then we want to re-render starting at this value, really, which we're going to want to save because it's going to be modified by this function. So we're going to save it. And we're going to tell it to re-render the size. Now we're going to flush the current shell. Now we can actually use current shell, which is, yeah. And that should actually be able to erase in both directions, but delete isn't going to work because the cursor doesn't move yet. No. No, no, no. All right. Well, let's see, why not? Well, actually, again, it could be that one buffer is deleting but not the other one. Again, printing actually just fucks this whole thing up. Oh well. But we do get to this point, but apparently we're not re-rendering, or are we? We can actually do a print L, which is just going to print to the console without printing to the visual. It is supposed to re-render, but what are you re-rendering? Alright, so how about you print me the contents buffer? Print the entire thing. Ah. So it didn't delete the character that I expected it to delete. It deleted another one. But... so maybe it was supposed to be plus forward? I guess I was already accounting for this thing in the buffer delete function. But anyway, it is deleting something, it's just not doing it right. Rage bait stream title? No. It's accurate. What are you doing? What? Text editing can be such a pain. Because you have no idea what you're doing most of the times. It's not rage bait because I mostly justified it yesterday, but I have very valid reasons for hating C++. And I have backed them up. But once again, since I haven't done this today, literally memorized the guy's name. My dude over here has one video. The worst programming language of all time, C++, 2 hours. And he knows what's up. If Lifetimes made C++ would be a perfect language, but they ruined it. Not sure what that means, to be honest. It was my Linux code, so nice. C++ documentary and watch later. It's such a painful language. There's so much hidden complexity. It's trying to be a higher level language, but without being one. You kind of can't have it both ways. That's kind of the main way I want to put it. That's the main issue with it. You can't have it both ways. You can't be both a high level and low level language at the same time. C++ versus Gobject? What's Gobject? Object-oriented Go? I just have no idea what that means. Is Gobject an actual thing? Sounds like goblet. I've never put my my name in the Gobject of Fire, so I wouldn't know. O, P, and C. I've dabbled. And C. Because I can just get rid of all the BS that C++ is doing. Like the issue that I had the other day where I initialized an object, I put a pointer of that object somewhere in the initializer, but then after the initializer runs, I get a copy of the object, so now I had 2 pointers. One of which was technically wrong too, but somehow it still worked. Mostly because I was just using it for like an if statement. Yeah, that is absolutely ridiculous behavior from a programming language. What do you mean you're initializing an object, copying it, and giving me the copy, but running the initializer in the original? Why is their hair just like randomly sticking out like that? Perfectly horizontal like that. Ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous language. Absolutely insane. Insane behavior from C++. We don't want you anymore. Depends on O level. It shouldn't be like I shouldn't have to worry about the different optimizations level. We'll have more or less bullshit. I don't know. This should never be default behavior for a programming language, regardless of O level. Which, by the way, it's 0. I'm pretty sure. No optimization. Do we really need to optimize? So he can sleep like that, but I sleep slightly weird and my neck hurts 2 days later? Are we serious? Alright. I think he's disassembled. Anyway. Yeah, so we're re-rendering, but it's not doing what I expected to do. I don't know. It feels inconsistent in the way that it works. I type HELLO, then I erase one, and it does nothing. But I erase another one, and it does nothing. But I type a letter and I erase. It moved the cursor without erasing. Seems like a bug in the buffer delete function, maybe, probably. Feels a little weird because yeah, okay, I remember where I'm already using this code. It's not in the OS itself, it's in the code editor. I can just look at that real quick. If I remember what it's called brain code. It's not in the code editor. The code editor just relies on text rendering from the UI library, so it's here. There it is. If we're doing backspace, we are erasing on the content cursor 1, and if we're doing delete, we're erasing on the content cursor +1. So again, content cursor plus forward, which means delete gets +1, backspace does not. That seems logical to me. But it doesn't seem to work like I expect it to. And yeah, that's it. Color looks nice. Oh, thank you. Wait, actually, yeah. Background, shirt, and this thing are matching, although this light is a little bit too bright, so you can't really see the purple of the background. Though it's more pink. It's technically pink. If I make it purple, it's gonna be a little bit too dark. It's also not gonna work. Hello? Oh, I'm holding it backwards. That's too blue. That's purple, but it's too blue. So if I want purple, I set it to pink. I need better lights too. Oh, he moved. He moved. A little bit. Still confused by the... Oh, wait, hold on. I never did this properly. So I'm probably causing some inconsistencies with that, but that's probably not what's causing the issue. Oh, he moved. It's like moving the cursor but not deleting. What's happening there? Though buffer delete is manually moving all the stuff in the buffer, which I could optimize a little bit, but I haven't needed that yet. So how would I recommend getting into C? Get GCC and start writing code. It's whatever you want to do, something simple. Get started from that. That is the best way to learn how to code, is to start writing code. It's going to be shitty at first, it's going to be difficult, it's going to be slow, but that's literally the only way to learn. Reading a book isn't going to help, tutorials can help, but I find it easier to just like struggle with it yourself and eventually you'll be good at it. What help do you take for implementing file system? What do you mean? C++ is the best programming language if it's the only language you know. That's true. That is actually very accurate. Wait. I see what's happening. I see what is happening. I'm not erasing characters that are left at the end. And here I'm printing the contents of the buffer as if it was just a as if it was a string, which means I'm looking for the null termination. So that's the problem. The problem is I can't print because it's gonna get to the screen, so it's gonna look weird, but yeah, I'm just gonna ignore what's going on the screen, just look at what's happening here, as long as it doesn't cause a that is correct. That is correct. Again, what's happening here, we're gonna ignore. This is correct. Though it is printing to the screen at the same time, so yeah, okay. That's the entire thing. It was just a rendering issue with the printer. But it's still not re-rendering. And the reason probably being that you can't just render empty content there. That's the problem. We shouldn't even be re-rendering. Should be manually drawing a glyph there. Like erasing that section manually. I'm not sure how to handle it. Yeah, the thing is, these early returns are probably catching it because we're telling it to re-render something that's at the end of the text. And there's nothing at the end of the text, so you kind of cannot handle it that way. I'll need a solution for that. Because this function here is the one that renders yeah, hold on, let me see. Do I want to tell it that I'm deleting? Like, if not deleting, then run these checks. Otherwise, if we are deleting, then render empty characters there. Alright, there's an ad coming up, so I'm just gonna take a little break and think about how I want to handle it. Do I want to re-render the entire screen when you delete a character? That is what the other one was doing. It wouldn't even be a problem. Or do I want to manually tell the terminal to No. This is supposed to be continuous text drawing. So it's supposed to be able to handle continuous text drawing. Okay, so yes. We're going to introduce a new function to it, is deleting. Alright, then when you call it draw text, you're not deleting because this is for drawing all text at once, this function. But if we're not deleting, then we're going to do these checks and we're not going to render that. If you're trying to render outside of the bounds of the string, you don't get to do that. But if you are deleting and you're doing this, then we'll kind of just run a very simplified version of this code. That just does it's not that easy, is it? No, we don't run a very simplified version of this code. Is that good? That good? That good? Okay. So if we're within a valid range, we take the character. If we're not within a valid range, but we're deleting a character, we're supposed to re-render, so that's okay. All right. All of these if checks are going to fail. Except for this one that we're going to make fail. Then this one, which we're going to make fail. And then that should be enough. Maybe. Just essentially don't run any of the text rendering logic. Wait, I haven't actually added that here. So all right, there. Then where we actually run the continuous, we use that, is deleting. And then we reset that back to 0, back to false. And when we're actually deleting here, before we flush, we're going to tell it we are deleting. Everywhere else, we're not. All right. Hello, Doodle Poodle. TAOCP uses assembly on his... Hold on, let me try this. Doesn't work. Woohoo! All right. Up and down levels of abstraction. So I'd cobble something like that if I, with something super high level like Haskell or Lean 4. Interesting. All right. Okay. Ad break is starting. So even though my code doesn't work, guess we're gonna fix it in 3 minutes. I'll be right back. Jester's here. Behave. Okay, hello. All right. So, there you go. All right, Jester. So here's the problem right now. We're trying to re-render. We're trying to render text in kind of a progressive manner, like, you know, as it comes in, we render more of it. But of course, there's a problem with deleting text, right? You get it? Where essentially we need to re-render the section where there used to be text to make it empty. You feel me? Feel me? We are not doing that, and it's not working, but I'm pretty sure I know why. So here's the deal. Here's the problem, Jester. The thing is, we don't have a background color to fill in. We're not telling it what the background color should be. That is the problem. See? You get it? You feel me? I think. I'm not sure. Maybe we are, and I'm just lying about this whole thing. Actually, maybe we are. So. See, I am setting a background color here. And I'm using it to clear, so clearly it's working. So yeah, that means that it's not working. Unfortunate. Very unfortunate. How do you feel about this? Any ideas? Any leads? What may be failing? You've been in the background while I code all the time for years at this point, so you should know what's wrong with the code. I feel like you should have a somewhat of a grasp of it. But maybe you don't. Maybe you don't care. Maybe it's just not your thing. That's fair. That's very valid. All right. So go back. Also, one more time. If you're on YouTube, there's a link to Twitch. If you would prefer to watch on there, I would prefer if you did. But with that being said, I've been kind of obsessively making sure that YouTube is not randomly turning off my monetization again. And in the process, I saw that somebody commented in my last stream asking about Zig. Zig is go. Zig is okay. Zig is okay. I'm okay with Zig. YouTube, why is the stream that's currently live not showing as live on the live page? How hard is it for one of the biggest companies in the world, one of their biggest products, to make it fucking usable to the people who power it? The content creators. Why is my monetization being randomly turned off? Why is the live stream that I'm currently doing not showing up in the list? What is wrong with you? Genuinely. Somebody make a fucking YouTube alternative already, please. For the love of God, I am begging you. I am tired of it. It is atrocious. It doesn't even work anymore. And now they're also getting rid of their search engine. Their search engine is no longer going to be a search engine. It's going to be an AI-powered experience. Or not, because they're actually kind of low-key turning the AI off on it. So I'm not sure if they're going to walk back that decision. Kind of feels that way, but that's just my own impression. So far, it looks like they are going to replace their search engine with something that does not do search. So, Google's going in an amazing direction, as is the rest of the tech industry. Very happy about that. Anyway, if you're on YouTube, there's a link to Twitch. Which, by the way, before I had ads on, I had monetization, but I didn't have ads. I averaged 3 viewers on YouTube. 1, 2, 3. I'm pretty sure they've all moved to Twitch already. Now, not a whole lot. It's not like I'm getting hundreds, but like 15, 20, 30, depending on the day. And the only difference is I turned on ads. Apparently turning on ads made my content a lot more appealing to people. They were like, hell yeah, give me those ads. It's definitely not the algorithm that was pushing content that had ads over content that didn't. Definitely not that. So yeah, thank you for forcing me to run ads and then turning them off on my stream. Very consistent behavior from you, YouTube. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm pissed off at their fucking company. Again, if you're gonna force me to run ads, at the very least pay me for them? Come on, man. Anyway. Let me go over the logic for the text rendering again, because Jester couldn't help me. Okay. We should have a background color, and we should be trying to render properly. But we shouldn't have a valid character. no early returns anymore. Those early returns are only for deleting. If we're, no, hold on, this is wrong. If we're not deleting, or if we are deleting but this is less than that, and this is more than that. Okay, that's the correct logic here. I'm gonna put that in a macro. Oh, that's moving the cursor forward. Okay. Hold on, I'm moving the cursor forward, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And I'm not liking this. I'm not gonna lie. The whole deleting text is not being amazing. It's kind of leading to the code being less readable, I feel like, but yeah, you can de-Google, but you can't really fully move away from YouTube. Not if you want to make content that people see or want to see content that people upload. That's kind of the issue with social-based websites. You'd require an audience. So nobody's going to move away from YouTube unless, an alternative comes up and big content creators move over there so that their audiences move with them. Alright, so if we're deleting, we just deleted a character. So we want to move the cursor back. It's kind of working. It's kind of working. Okay, it needs a little bit of adjustment. And Likawize. This is low-key a giant problem. It's low-key a giant problem because I kind of ran into the same thing in the other UI library. Once you get to the beginning, you need to go to the end of the last line, move the cursor there, right? So the cursor is at x0, you move back, you move to x something one line above. Not x0 one line above, but x the end of the line one line above. So that is extra stuff that I need to handle. And also this I'm pretty sure needs to happen here. I'm not liking this code at all. But it works. I'll see if I can improve it later. Honestly, I don't want to waste too much time making this code pretty. And also handle moving lines. So right now, Oh, am I sure that it cannot handle it properly? Well, it's not really a problem here. It's more so going to be a problem somewhere else. Because you can't really go back at this point. At this point, the input buffer is completely empty, so you can't erase anymore. Which means we never get to erase from the print buffer. Which means we never even get the possibility of erasing here. But maybe I'm already handling that? I'm going to try. I'm not going to delete from the input buffer. I'm just going to delete from the output buffer. And see how that goes. Okay, it still doesn't do anything. But I'm pretty sure it actually should have erased. But either way, okay, I have a to-do there. I'll probably have to look at this code a little bit, clean it up a little bit, make it a little bit better. But I do want this text rendering function to handle everything. Really, I would even want it to render a cursor if I'm able to be honest. Probably shouldn't do that, but I would love to do that. Either way. In terms of terminal, all the behavior that I need is there. Once I use this function elsewhere, it's not going to work so well. Because like right now, I should only be able to delete stuff from this line. Because if I press enter, I already go to the new line, but I'm running a command. So it's a completely new line. And I am able to delete everything properly here. So I'm good with that. Kind of. That didn't work properly. Exit early. Yeah, that didn't work well. But that is an input buffer issue. Should be a slice. So even though I am leaving old data in the buffer itself, I am limiting it. So it shouldn't matter to the command, but somehow it's making its way to the command. I don't know. A few bugs to fix here and there, but cannot be bothered right now. There's a lot of bug fixing to be done. I just need a functional terminal right now. Everything else comes later. Like history will come later. Should be pretty easy to do history since it's kind of stack based. That wouldn't be too much of an issue. Few other things. Also missing moving the cursor, and then yeah, again, cleaning up the whole text drawing function is going to help me do these things a lot better. Scroll is the other thing that's missing from this. But again, not exactly the most appealing thing for me to handle right now. So I'm just going to move on. Bug fixing comes later, doesn't necessarily need to happen on stream. Not exactly the most engaging content for anyone, especially myself. At least I can listen to music while I'm doing it. Daily mode. The thing is, yeah, there's no alternative to YouTube. Because again, just like there's no alternative to Instagram, there's no alternative to all these websites. Because sure, you can build one, but it's not going to have everybody on it. Everybody's been on YouTube for so long. We're not just going to move away from it. If I want to watch a video from 20 years ago, I can literally watch a video from 20 years ago. YouTube is 20 years old. If I want to watch a really... Well, no, they used Flash back then. It's not so easy, but maybe? I don't know. I have seen some people going through old content. Sometimes it's a bit difficult, but they can still do it. So yeah, if I want to watch a really old video, I can. 21-year-old video.
Alright, so here we are in front of the elephants. Cool thing about these guys is that they have really long fronts, and that's cool. And that's pretty much all there is to say.
What? What was that suggested video? Anyway, 6 million subscribers. Pretty sure that, do you even like upload content? 6 million subscribers with one video, also verified just because he uploaded the first ever YouTube video. Amazing. Yeah. Yeah, that's why you can't move away from YouTube. Like, yeah, sure, I could start posting to another platform. Who's actually gonna bother watching that? And I am streaming on Twitch, and honestly, this fucking close to only streaming on Twitch. Again, the main reason I haven't already done it is I would be completely abandoning my YouTube channel. And that's not what I want to do. Either that, or I would have to, like, upload the VODs. Which I have considered. I just don't want to edit them. But I have considered it. Trust. Sake, YouTube, for fuck's sake. Alright, there is one tiny thing I wanted to do. After the shell gets initialized, should already be adding this. Again, we don't have the blinking cursor. I don't want to work on the blinking cursor yet because I don't know if I want to make that part of the terminal or not. If I want to make it part of the text drawing code directly. Since it already handles cursors. That would make it overly complicated. But it would make it easy for me to use this thing. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Anyway. Really, whatever. I'll handle it when I handle it. I can't be bothered right now. Alright, is there anything else that I can do without starting the refactor or really looking into that text drawing function and making it a little bit better? You know what's funny is just thinking about it, I feel like I hate the code a little bit less, but it's not amazing still. This function exists. It should be able to handle moving the cursor back. The thing is, again, this is not useful for the terminal because the terminal by default you can only erase on the current line that you're on, but it is going to be useful for other things, including text editor. So, yeah. I'll see. I probably don't need to implement this right now, and I cannot test this right now, so I'm not going to bother with that. I might just leave it as a to-do and just move on. Yeah, let's make you render the text, the cursor. Let's have it rendered by the what is it called? Rendered by the terminal itself. Now hold on. It would be a lot easier if I did this handling it. Okay. Okay. I'm going to make this a little bit different. I forgot to put an enum here. All right, so instead of this being a boolean, it's going to be a text rendering operation. It is going to be a text rendering operation, and coincidentally, this still would work, but I don't want that. So render text. All right, that's the operation that you want to run. That's the default, render text. And here we're delete text. All right. So now when we're doing this, and this, and this, we change this to operation being equal to delete text. And this turns into this. And this turns into this. And this turns into this. Now, if I can tell it the current, maybe this isn't as straightforward as I thought. IDK. No, maybe it is, maybe it is, maybe it is. No, I can actually, okay, hold on. If it's render cursor, then I should be able to do this thing with a cursor color that we don't have, but we're going to hardcode to be white. I'm not sure if this will work. Maybe it won't, and I'll just forget about this whole thing. But I think it will. No, just return. Just return. Yeah, no, this is dumb. This is dumb. Forget about it. Forget about this whole thing. It's just Control Z, all of it. It was a stupid idea. Since none of this code has been committed in like 2 days. Alright, there we go. Back to how it should be. Anyway, also this, and this. Okay. So, the cursor is going to be handled by the terminal. So cursor on false by default, and then float cursor blink time. We're going to default it to 1 second. And then you can just handle it yourself. There's wait, because actually if I do this in milliseconds, I can do it without a float. Yeah, okay. There, we get the last time. Then we get the current time. Current time. There we go. We increase the cursor current. No, we increase the cursor current by the current time minus last time, which is the delta time, but in milliseconds. And if the cursor current is bigger or equal than the cursor blink time, then we toggle the cursor. Or even make a function called toggle cursor that will handle everything for us. And then we reset the cursor current back to 0. Okay. Yes, the code is public. Run command git to get it. All right. Toggle cursor, what are you going to be doing? First off, you are actually going to invert cursor on. Then, if the cursor is on, you are going to render manually now I do need to copy some code from here, which is pretty much this thing. But why didn't that copy as a... whatever, I'll just do it manually. Cursor X, cursor Y. With the width being char width and line height. The color being... actually, just the current formatting foreground color. I would love to know why Clang seems to think that line height is a function that is not called line height but FB line height. Do you maybe see a problem with this? Buddy, come on. I mean, I do need to call those functions, but like, do we maybe see a problem with that? All right. That is the correct way of doing this. If the cursor is not on, then we're just going to tell the re-render range to be where we currently are with the cursor. You're going to re-render our contents.cursor size 1. You're just going to re-render whatever the cursor currently is. And you're going to, of course, flush our current shell. And there is one more thing I'm forgetting. That pretty much this won't do anything because we can't move the cursor right now. But eventually, once we can move the cursor, as will be a thing. Oh, another thing that's missing is that both of you need to flush. Well, no. But it did work for a bit. Maybe this will make it work properly? Yeah, just erase whatever was there before. Yep. But the size of the cursor is weird. But one thing that I really like about this code, as opposed to this code when it comes to rendering the cursor, is that this one was handling it in like 10 different places. We look for references to like cursor set visible. This was doing it, but there's a few other places where it was also doing it, so that was kind of weird. However, one thing I do want to know is why the character width is bigger. Because that feels like the cursor is a little bit too fat. Not to fat shame the poor cursor, I mean, I would not want to do that, but does it feel very weird? Is it maybe perhaps a little bit weird? It is a little bit weird, for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. Maybe actually because... No, that's gonna make it smaller on the y-axis, which is just gonna make it look fatter, yeah. That's too much. But it kind of okay. It's a, I was gonna say I hate that I removed the ability to compile C++ so quickly, but no, I don't. The thing is, I would want to see how the old cursor looks. But you know what? All these changes aren't just on this local machine, so this won't be on the stream, but I can at least look at what it looked like before. The old cursor was kind of ugly. That's the problem. Yep. The old cursor was just kind of ugly. That's, So what if instead of doing the char width, I just give you, like, 3. That's the width. Very thin. Like a solid little... Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. But it's a visual thing. Hardly matters. We have a cursor. It was easy to implement for that matter. I don't really have a problem with it. Alright. I'll keep this as it is. I may refine it later, fix it a little bit, see how I like it. How about instead I try moving the cursor with left and right? It's a tough one. Yeah, it's not. It shouldn't be a tough one. Let's see. Let's see if it's a tough one. If the key is key back... No. If the key is key left, then we just move cursor like that. And implement a bool move cursor int amount. Let's make it even clearer that we're moving the buffer cursor. And also, since I made it a boolean, it should be able to return. Move buffer cursor and return true. All right, and really, I think all I need to do is there a function for this? There isn't a function for this. Okay, so let's make one. In the buffer itself, the buffer type itself. We're going to seek, we're going to return a pointer, which is the new cursor. We're going to use an I64 amount and a boolean for absolute. All right. So our new cursor is going to be, if we're doing absolute, just the amount itself. Otherwise, it's going to be the buffer cursor plus the amount, which can be negative, so it can go backwards. With that, we calculated what the buffer should be, and we see if the new would it be okay if I make you, yeah, I think that's fine. If the new cursor is less, no, actually, if I make you unsigned, then I can just do a simple check. If the new cursor is bigger than the current buffer's size, then return the existing cursor. We're not going to modify it. Otherwise, we're going to set it to the new cursor and we're going to return the buffer cursor. So really, if I want to simplify this logic a little bit, is if it's less than this, actually that was wrong. If it's less than the buffer size, the new cursor, then that's where, no, wait. Less or equal to the buffer size, because we can put the cursor at the end of the buffer, and then next time you type, it adds to the buffer. So yes. If it's a valid range, we update the cursor, and we return the cursor, which didn't get updated if the range is wrong. Okay. This buffer type is so helpful, honestly. So useful for a lot of things. And it's just becoming more and more useful. So now we can just do buffer seek, and it's going to be the contents buffer. It's going to seek by the amount, and that's not going to be absolute. And then we need to do a little bit more. I want to move the cursor visually, right? So you why is this a boolean? This shouldn't be a boolean. All right, we're going to do render cursor. So that way, actually, I can hide the cursor before, seek, and now show the cursor only if it's enabled. That way, I already removed the cursor. If it was somewhere visible already, I remove it. And then if it was visible, show it again. And there. Let's see if this works. The theme is called Synthwave 84. Also, hello. Hello. The IDE is Z, and is studying software engineering. Your question's in Portuguese. I don't really speak Portuguese, but I do understand it. I'm assuming you're asking if it's worth studying. I dropped out, but yes, kind of. Hey, I didn't type all that. Hey, I'm literally not typing. What are you doing? Yo! Alright, the fucking terminal's cursed again. God damn it. Oh, it's doing it again. The ghost took over. It's the ghost in the shell. It's the ghost in the fucking shell. Alright, so that clearly didn't work. This thing clearly didn't work. So let me do it without that and just let the cursor update itself manually. See if it's moving in the first place and then move on from there. Hello, and I move the cursor to the left and there you... Am I... Wait... No, that should be fine. That's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to move the cursor by the amount. It's the cursor plus amount, which means move the cursor back by 1. And then if that's a valid amount, then set it and return it. I think this code is very, very simple. So that shouldn't be a problem. We actually don't need to check any other properties of the buffer, because this is just done for seeking, so we're good. Although, this could be useful. Little check there. Everything else is already handled by this. Been a lot of bugs today. At least monetization is still on. Yes, I'm checking every 5 minutes. I'm actually super paranoid about that. Am I doing everything correctly? The cast? That shouldn't be a problem, but just in case. Oh, okay. Okay. I see the problem. I think. Not sure. Is the buffer actually updating the cursor is the question that I should be asking myself. I'm pretty sure it's a question I can only ask myself once, because that's going to add to it. It's so hard to work with it like this. Did I make a print function that doesn't go through the shell? I feel like I did. Not. Did not. Let me just disable that real quick. I can do that. I can very much afford to do that. It's fine. I'm very much controlling what goes on the terminal right now. That's okay with me. $14, $13, $12, $11, $10. So the cursor is clearly moving, but is there a separate cursor that controls? Yeah, there is. This cursor is not moving. That's the problem. Okay, that's the problem. So I'm never telling the text renderer that the cursor has moved, so it just keeps adding stuff visually, but not really to the buffer. And that's why we have the... What is the name of that function? The one that I just talked about? The one that goes from the buffer cursor to the position to line column. This is the one. This is the one. So we're going to update this cursor, maybe with an ampersand here. That was not supposed to be that. That was supposed to be cursor. Yep. Yep, that looks fine to me. You're doing amazing. Truly beautiful. um, Starts at 0, 0. When there's one of these things, it resets the column back to 0 and the line to 1. Otherwise, it increases the column by 1. What is happening? That looks correct to me. But just to be clear, this is this. What was happening? I'm pretty sure I haven't fixed it, so I can show you. I'm typing, I'm moving the cursor back by 1 character, and it starts typing up there. Which is weird because the cursor moved. Cursor X, cursor Y. Line and column. Line and column. Line and column. They were inverted. Whoops. It's still wrong. It's still fucking wrong. Oh my god. Why? The new cursor is set to 7, 1. Line 1. I'm also not telling you to re-render at all. Why? So weird. Hold on, okay, one thing. It prints O, which is the correct character that should print when the cursor is replaced by the letter that was there before. So that's good. What isn't good is everything else. Also, this code is technically wrong. Let's just bring back the ugly cursor. That's fine by me. I'll figure it out later, but is this function resetting the cursor? No, it isn't resetting the cursor. It cannot possibly reset the cursor. That's the entire point of it. Is anyone resetting this cursor to something? No. It's literally only being used here, too. That is correct, but it didn't re-render the cursor when... Okay, so I found a little issue there. When I delete, I also need to do this. When I erase a character, I will do that, this, and that. This code is becoming messy. A little bit, but whatever. A little bit of messy code never hurt anyone. Alright, so that works perfectly fine. This goes back to 0. Alright, so when I erase, I tell you to delete from the thing. Do I then not need to run this thing? Not need to run this thing. And just run this one instead. No. Because that actually keeps the buffer where it was. Well, maybe yes. I'm going to do something very cursed just for the sake of it. No, that does not work. It just keeps drawing more characters. But why is it drawing more characters? Why is it why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why are you... Who's moving the cursor? I'm telling you to re-render, but I'm not telling you there's anything new. I have to say, my brain's not in debugging mode these days, so it's really hard to... Like, whenever I encounter a bug, I'm like, can I please not do this? Because there's been a lot of ridiculous bugs lately, so... Eventually you get fed up with them. Oh well. Anything on Pi support? Somebody volunteered on doing a little bit of PCIe stuff. And I'm going to handle the Raspberry Pi 3, but I haven't. Soon enough, I think. I've been super busy this last few weeks, so hasn't been possible, but I should have more time soon, and maybe I'll be able to do that for the Raspberry Pi 3. Which again, the only thing is just to figure out the interrupts. Then 4M5 PCIe needs to be figured out. But now that we actually have UART, it might even be able to do it without. To use the system, you know, connected to another system without proper USB input. Okay, so this clearly is needed. And it's clearly giving me the right value. But it isn't... You're on character 14, which maps to line 1, character 6. I can even map it to line 1, character 5, and yet you're re-rendering in the entirely wrong place. Alright, so it's time to look at the render function again. You should be rendering whatever is here in this C. At no point do you reset the cursor Y. So why are you doing that? Oh. This gives the line and column. They need to be multiplied also by the char and line height. By these two. That is a visual cursor. Those are pixels in the value. So it is doing it, it's just re-rendering to the wrong place. It's one or the other, for fuck's sake. I'm so confused. It seems to be doing it at the right... This is actually wrong. This actually is line height. That's also why I need a different one instead of just using the same. All that just to get back at the same exact issue. For fuck's sake! I can't believe you! Anyway. Progress is we have a cursor, but it's being stupid when you move it. A visual cursor, but it's being stupid when you move it. I want to get back into OS Dev, but I need the willpower to keep at it. Yeah, that part is really annoying. That's why I haven't done Raspberry Pi support, because like the PCIe stuff, does the OS Dev wiki even have anything on PCIe? Can you believe that I haven't checked? Hey, this has been loading lately. They have PCIe. Yeah, it's not a lot. Although, I saw there were technically 2 pages, but one is just a redirect of the other one, right? I just opened the same one again. Yeah, it's the same page. You know what? I might take a look at this later. Who knows? Maybe I'll fix PCIe. I'll have Raspberry Pi support by tomorrow. Except I'm not gonna bother with this later. It's literally 11:30 on a Saturday night. I'm not about to do this. But soon. Maybe like next week. Who knows? This is Zed, not Vim or NeoVim. I don't like either of those. Micro though, Micro's nice. Yeah, these pages are super lacking. They're not amazing. And I remember when I did FAT32, I updated the page because the page hadn't been updated in so long. I wonder, this is the mirror, so I wonder if my changes are going to be on this one or not. I did it on the other one. But I want to say yes. Maybe. Because there used to be a lot of these that were unknown. And mind you, this is actually a pretty complete page. But yeah, it used to say a lot of unknown. Oh, we don't really know what this is. Because for the longest time, FAT32 was... my changes are not here. Although, merge new changes. Can I see the diff? Diff. Nope, these are not my changes. Maybe this has no diff because it's the latest revision. Maybe that's what you. Yeah, no. All right, so I remember when I updated the wiki.osdev.org, it was a little bit of a pain in the ass. I had to do a fair bit just to sign up to it. I thought the other one was a mirror. Unless they deleted my changes or didn't bring them in. Yeah, my changes are not here. Hello? Is it exFAT? Am I misremembering which one I changed? It was exFAT. Fuck's sake. Yeah, so I added a lot of missing fields, but look at the changes before that. These are my changes in 2025. Apparently people have been busy. 2 changes this year, although they're just formatting changes. Before that, last change 2019. 2019, 2019, 2019, 2015. It's not the most up-to-date wiki, and that makes it really difficult to... Now I want to know if my changes are here as well. Makes it really difficult for certain things. Like exFAT also has a fair amount of... My changes are not here. How is this a mirror of the other one? When you don't have the same changes. It's more of a fork. Okay. That explains it. But yeah, like that's FAT32. Okay, so maybe the old OSDev wiki has more on PCIe. No. Well, shit. Actually, yes. For the love of God. Bridge control is kind of what I need to do, I think. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's maintained by the Discord. So that makes sense, yeah. To be fair, I could also ask there. I think I'm actually in that Discord server. Yes. Though I have it muted, as I do most Discord servers. Anyway, I just made all of these changes because without them, something was breaking, and now something's still breaking. In the same exact way, where if I move the cursor, it just starts typing on its own. The ghost in the shell takes over. Amazing. Which would indicate that this cursor is not changing, but it is changing. That's what I'm very confused about. The text drawing is using the cursor that I pass it. Right? It's using the cursor that I've updated. So why are you unable to handle this? How about... Okay, let me try something. I'm going to manually update this to move just the visual cursor without actually changing the cursor itself. Man, go fuck yourself with that shit. It's so pedantic. about signage. This literally would not have led to issues. Okay. This works perfectly fine. Except it's low-key deleting everything, but whatever. But it's deleting everything because I haven't actually moved the cursor. Alright, so what happens if I do a buffer seek and then I manually update the cursor like that? That breaks. Even though the cursor is actually moving backwards. Am I updating this cursor somewhere else then? Not this, but I am updating the cursor somewhere else. In the text drawer. Alright, so what can I do then to do this properly? Bum, 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 bum. Where is it? Handle input, and then move cursor buffer here. Alright. So what if I just don't re-render anything at all, whatsoever? Just don't bother. That didn't work. Giant printer terminal is starting to break apart. Oh god. Fuck's sake. I just cannot wrap my head around what's going on. This works. But when I move the cursor backwards, it actually moves it forwards, constantly updating itself, constantly moving itself. It's just doing it more and more. It's just getting worse. I again, I'm literally unable to debug right now. I should probably just end the stream here and figure this out some other time because I am not able to debug this right now. I genuinely have no idea what's happening. So I'm going to see if I have some time to do it tomorrow, before tomorrow, so that I can move on to something else. Might be at a point where after this works, the terminal should be okay enough that I can be done with it. And move on to something else. What is something else? There was a thing that I had in mind. I don't know. I kind of wanted to do. I mentioned I wanted to redo my build system in. I was gonna say in Swift, not in Swift, in Lisp. Although I like Swift, but not in Swift, in Lisp, because it relies a lot on linked lists, which is literally what Lisp is all about. The list processor is all about processing lists, shockingly enough. So I might do that, but maybe on Monday. That feels more like a Monday type of activity. I did have some other stuff to work on, but I don't remember what that is. By the way, yesterday I wrote this million lines of code file, 30 megabytes by the way, literally 30 megabytes of one line of one, pretty much one repeated line of code. And I tried to compile it with, I was gonna say with Rust. I tried to compile it with Z, and Z freaked out on me, kind of killed my entire system. Whoops. But then I tried it with a terminal, and it worked perfectly fine. I didn't do it on stream, because like, if that didn't work, it would have tanked my stream again. But it did work, and yeah. It just took a few seconds, and then eventually I was able to compile it. Perfectly fine. Just skill issue on Zed's part. But anyway, the program is actually there. But what I came here for is... Again, I should be able to also work on my manual stuff, but of course, I need to fix the terminal first. New build system feels more like a Monday thing. Remake the terminal is what I'm currently working on. Maybe tomorrow I want to do a little bit of encryption. Maybe there's more stuff that I want to work on in the terminal once I iron out all the bugs. I'm going to have to pick up my programming language and my code editor soon, because while working on a code editor is fun, I was like, yeah, but Z is cool. But Z is low-key becoming less and less cool. So suddenly I'm feeling like my own text editor is a good idea. Plus, the entire a goal that I set for myself in 2026 is to be able to do most of my work inside of this operating system, even if it runs inside of a virtual machine, because like I won't be streaming from it. But yeah, that would require it to have a text editor, so I should work on that a little bit more. And with all the improvements that I'm making to the text rendering in the terminal, those should also translate to better text editor. But that's not really a concern right now. Right now, the concern is to end the stream, and maybe tomorrow I'm going to work on the terminal a little bit more, and I'm going to work on encryption a little bit more. Maybe I'll decide that I actually do want to work on the build system. We'll do some Lisp. Maybe I'll do code editor. I don't know. I guess we'll see tomorrow. How do you get that good at programming? You sit down and you code. And then you keep doing that. And then you keep doing that. And then you keep doing that. And you keep doing that. I think you get the point. That's pretty much the only way to do it. But it does work. Eventually you make a lot of mistakes. Then you learn from those mistakes. You get better at it. And all that. My own emulator. Are you talking about Lisp interpreter? Are you talking about replacing QEMU? It's one of those things I'll have to do. If I make a build system in Lisp, I'll need it to work from my own programming language. I mean, my own operating system, so I'll need a Lisp interpreter. I also really want to work on one. But I do need a little bit of, you know, more experience in Lisp before I make an interpreter for the damn thing. But trust that that is a thing that I want to work on in the future. I cannot like have 2 days of experience in Lisp and be like, all right, let's make our own Lisp interpreter now. But that is the thing I want to do. Okay. So, thank you, YouTube, for monetizing my monetizable content. Didn't know this was a thing that could not happen. So, thank you. Thanks for that. And thank you for not doing it yesterday. Also, you know what's really funny? This is the graph for the VOD of my stream yesterday. This is where the stream ends. This is where I realized, oh shit, monetization is turned off. And I turned it on. That's what it looks like. Well, that's what it looked like before the stream. Now it's kind of been compressed, so it mostly just looks like this. It's a little bit harder to tell, but yeah. YouTube, genuinely don't think I can say the things I want to say without getting banned off the damn platform. That's not the plan either. But for the love of God, can I please make content? That's it. Can I please make content? I'm genuinely trying to make content. Wait, hold on. I'm looking at... Oh my god. I was looking at the graph for the current stream. Yeah, it still looks like that. It still looks like that. It looks a little bit more like this. It's more flat than I drew it. But yeah, it looks like this. And then... Again, monetization turned on here. Stream ends here. And I set it for monetization to start here, by the way. But YouTube cannot handle that. Truly a great platform. I love working with it. It's really making me so fucking happy. I enjoy it a lot. It's a very great platform. And please ignore the pinned comment telling you to go to Twitch. There's no reason to do that. YouTube is so great. YouTube is so amazing. Thank you, YouTube, for all that you've given us. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to end the stream with a list of things that I am grateful for when it comes to YouTube. Here they are.